Hey, we're driving today. I'm goddamn getting myself fired up here. Okay. I was sitting listening to talking to my grandpa last night, and listening to him talk about the old days and what he used to do for work, and just some of the stuff he dealt with working, growing up. So he used to work in the woods when he was younger, and they cutting trees and stuff. He didn't cut trees. I don't know exactly what he'd done. Run dozer a little bit, but he was talking about how they get out there in the damn snow, knee deep or over your knees or something, and they wade through the fucking snow, cutting wood, and the guy cutting the trees down, he would have to get out there and kick him out a path around the tree and kick the snow away, so when a tree falls, he can get out of the way and stuff. And just running a dozer. My grandpa, he run a dozer and damn snow and freezing ass weather and shit. And it's just, I don't know, it's a good testimony as to what they people went through back in those days, and what men went through back in those days, because women didn't get out and do that shit. I'm not saying they didn't get out in the cold and work. They did. They fucking the gardens and stuff like that, but they was out in it too. They fucking sacrificed their shit too. All right, but I'm just talking about specifically like men going out into the woods and the dangerous environments and stuff that they worked in. Women were not subjected to that stuff like men were. And so in the spiritual community, there's this shit everybody talks about, how we are a product of our ancestors, of our lineage, how our ancestors literally live in our blood, in our DNA, which is also, it goes along with the Indians and stuff and how they lived and believed. And so in order, when they talk about speaking your own truth, it's kind of your truth that comes from your lineage and what your family and stuff has been through. Whatever they've been through, you have also been through that as well. Like, that is in your fucking blood, in your genes, inside of you. You have been through that. You've been down that path. You went down it with them. Your spirit was with them, because their spirit passed down. It's all the same spirit. All right. So maybe that's, I guess I'm saying that because maybe that's where a lot of my shit comes from, as far as fucking being aggravated with what's going on these days with men and women. Women fucking, and I talk about my grandpa especially, because my grandpa sacrificed his life in order to make sure he provided a stable and secure environment and a future for his family, for himself and for his family. He had a farm, just some cattle. He wasn't a big farmer, but just some cattle. So he would go to work, and he eventually ended up getting on for the state, working for the state. Not making great money, but he was making a living. He talked to me. He got on with the state because there was a secure future involved in it. Social security and retirement. Okay. And so he done that. He made sacrifices in order to secure a future. And he was married, him and my grandmother. This is why I'm getting into this. Him and my grandmother, they were married for 56 years. And she was always very religious, okay? Now, she come from a rough family and stuff, but this isn't about him or her. This is about masculine energy and feminine energy and the fucking shit that is unfolding in our country, okay? So she was able to stay home. What my grandmother done, she developed herself. She's actually got very godly qualities about her. She's also got very fucking evil, wicked qualities about her. The dark side of the feminine, the shit that's going on in the country, the dark side of the feminine energy. Sorry, I'm driving around here, but I'll sit up there and listen to my grandpa talk about a lot of them old stories, how they went out, all the shit they done, the sacrifices they made just to even be able to make a living, man, and get by and try to provide a decent life for the family, provide food and clothes and all that stuff. And they weren't out trying to fucking chasing after all this bullshit we chase after these days, materials and shit. There's this goddamn thing that goes around these days where everybody thinks that, a lot of people think that to develop yourself and open yourself up and find your full potential and find God, that you have to go out and chase after this or chase after that, or, open up and start a business and, I don't know, just do big grand things. And that's fucking bullshit, okay? Like, I think that you have to acquire things or something as part of the journey of opening yourself up and developing yourself. And we kind of attack the idea of accepting what you have. Well, you already fucking have everything. You have every goddamn thing you fucking need, could ever possibly need, is inside of you. It is with you at the moment. You don't have to go out and fucking get a bunch of shit to find yourself. That's not how you're going to find yourself anyways. You're not going to do it that way. You can chase and chase and chase shit all fucking day long. Your whole fucking life you can chase after shit and still never fucking find yourself. Never find God, never find that love. Alright? When you accept what you have and begin to perfect what you have, okay, you'll find God that way. You got to take care of the shit you already have. If you're not taking care of what you already have, well, you got no business going out chasing after more shit, I live in a fucking trailer. Y'all seen my trailer in some of the videos and stuff. Rather, it's not nice. It ain't fancy by no means. But 2 years ago when I connected to God, and what I'm trying to get back into is, I took care of that motherfucker, dude. I got him on my hands and knees and scrubbed the floors. My flooring is subflooring. It's subflooring. It's just fucking plywood. I painted this shit. But I used to get down and scrub it and clean it regularly. Take care of it. As if it was a fucking goddamn a person or some shit. And I done that because I was taking care of myself. You see, that trailer is a part of me. That's my fucking home. That's part of me, right? Now, if I lost it, it's not me. I'm still going to be okay without it. But as long as I'm living there, it's in my presence, my territory and shit, my property. All that stuff is representative of me. It's symbolic of me. If I fucking sleep and live in a fucking shithole, that's probably, I'm also going to treat myself that same way. I'm not going to be taking care of myself. And that's exactly what after I fell away from God, and for the majority of my life, that is how I've been. I haven't really truly taken care of myself. As far as eating right and exercising, and just, I never really thought about it. I never paid no attention to a lot of shit. And I carried addictions and stuff around inside of me that ate at me. And I still do. It's something currently I'm dealing with, breaking away from certain things. Kind of drifting off here. Y'all know how I like to do that. I like to take the roundabout way, get to my point, because there's lots of shit that is involved in the point that I'm trying to make, okay? And where I'm coming from. But, so I guess let me get back. Let me get back on point here. My grandpa sacrificed his life, to working for the state. That's like a 9-to-5 job. That's kind of like fucking factory work and shit. There's a lot of men that sacrifice their lives in order to provide a living and a stable fucking future for our country, for their families, and for our country. All right, and my nanny, my grandma, I call her my nanny. She's my nanny. And I love her. I still love her. I mean, we ain't talked in ever since she left, like 5 or 6 years ago. That's because she left and never told me or contacted me about her. No, she just disappeared. So that was her choice. She ended up divorcing him after 56 years of marriage. She ended up divorcing him because, well, I'll tell you why. Because my dad was going up there. It was an excuse. Was an excuse for her. She wanted to get the fuck out. I don't know. She never liked a lot of things. She always had issues with him, and like he was never good enough for her. My grandpa was good enough for her. And I've never heard nobody badmouth him. He is a sweet, fucking good-hearted man that helped anybody in the world out. He's always been that way. He liked to drink a little bit. He wasn't a bad drunk, wasn't an abusive drunk. I mean, sure, there's always issues that come with drinking, but he wasn't a daily drunk. He was, I mean, as far as I've ever known, he wasn't bad. So anyways, she was in a religion. She was always in a church, dragging people to church and shit, trying to force that shit on her family and my grandpa and her kids and stuff. And my dad, see, this comes from my father. He said that she used to drag him around, and she always changed her religious beliefs. Like she couldn't figure out what to, she would take them one place and tell them this, but then it would change and they'd go over here. So she confused the fuck out of them, my dad and stuff, as far as what to believe in and what God is and all that stuff. And I guess she was always, my God, she was overly fucking strict and just, which I understand. I do understand, because when you connect with God, you have to take care of yourself, like you say, take care of your body and your family and everything. And that's what she was trying to do, but you can't force shit on people. I mean, it comes back on you. So my dad, I guess he was getting drunk and going up there and ripping her ass, and I don't agree with that at all. That was some bullshit. She told my papa if he didn't put a stop to it, she was going to leave him. Well, that's what ended up happening. Okay. It wasn't my papa's place to put a stop to it. She kind of brought that on herself by her own past actions, the way she raised my dad. Right? I've never known nobody go up there and rip my grandpa's ass or treat my grandpa that way, or, never known any of that shit. She used to go around and badmouth him to neighbors and stuff and other people, and she would just do a lot of bullshit, hiding things from him and just a lot of sneaky bullshit. I mean, she stole, goddamn, over $100,000 from him, because I think she managed the banks and the accounts and stuff. He didn't manage that stuff. She did, and he had money put away, because that's the kind of man he is. He's not the kind of man who just goes out and blows money on dumb shit. If he has it, he put it away for security fucking reasons, because that's what them old timers did, because they understand that shit's not always here, right? That's the way it was back then. You had to store things up. You had to save and plan ahead, plan for the future. Now, me personally, when it comes to connecting to God and everything, I'm not against that. That's not a bad way. That's a godly way as well. That is in the Bible. It is a godly way of being prepared. That's how you be prepared. That's using your fucking head. We like to talk about a lot of people think that God just comes from the heart these days. Like, if we don't use our head, that we completely just clear out our mind completely so that our heart can flow through it. It's like a lot of people don't use their minds. God gave you a brain for a reason. You got to use the damn thing. And we don't do that very much these days, especially when it comes to long-term planning. Everybody's right here, right now, in the moment. Because there's so much shit. There's just so much shit. People growing up these days never had to deal with any of them hardships and the hard times like they did back then. We're not coming from a different place that they come from. And because of that, feminism, the feminine energy, wants more, man. It gets bored or something. It begins to want more, want this or want that. The serpent whispers in Eve's ear and says that, hey, there's more out here. You don't have to be satisfied with what you have. Come on out here and then enjoy all this other life. Okay. Well, it's nice to enjoy all the other life. I had to break away and go through some cycles and shit. Okay, but you have to fucking reestablish stability. I mean, you have to allow the masculine to come in and establish stability. If you don't, you never create the Garden of Eden. You never have any type of quality. You're constantly in a period of struggle. Okay, change is kind of like change and development is a bit of a struggle. When you have stability, when a plant develops stability and it's no longer growing and changing, that is when it begins to bloom and blossom out its flowers, okay, and become beautiful. As long as it's in the growing process, it's very beautiful in the growing process. I grew my own plants. Hell, I grew weed, and it was, I don't know, I like weed. It's a very beautiful plant. I loved what I was doing with it. And I learned a fucking hell of a lot from that process. But so while it's in the growing process, I'll tell you what I done. I was cutting branches and trimming and shaping it up, so that it could reach its potential, so it could do better than it normally would on its own by itself. All right. And that is a masculine thing that I was doing with that plant. The feminine energy is all about, like, let's just leave it alone, let it completely develop natural on its own. We don't cut at it. We don't discipline it. We don't shape it. We let it follow its own heart. Well, you can do that, but then you're going to live like the fucking animals. Then you end up being like the goddamn animals out here, okay? There is no community. There is no connection. You lose out on a lot of great things. Okay, the masculine energy, what God and the Bible has done in there, is meant to cut and shape people in order to reach a fuller potential. And we've completely gotten away from that. We don't want none of that shit these days. I don't want anybody to discipline us and shape us up in anything, right? Everybody wants to be who they want to be. And I agree with that. But here's the thing. You've got to learn to discipline and shape yourself. If somebody else is not going to cut at you, if you're not going to let somebody else cut at you and develop you, you need to learn to cut and develop yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to grow bad parts of yourself. You're going to develop bad pieces of you. Suck life out of you. Kind of like apple trees and shit. They grow suckers, what they call suckers. And it's just little old piddly fucking stems like your finger that grow up everywhere. And then they suck nutrients and energy out of the tree and keep it from producing as much fruit as it could. Okay, so you clean it up. You shape it up. You women, y'all love doing that shit with men. You take a goddamn rough, rugged man and you want to goddamn dress him up and clean him all up and everything. You want him to do this and do that and shit for you. Clean him up, right? So that's y'all's masculine, shaping up our feminine. Okay? Our feminine is rough and ugly. It's not beautiful like y'all's is. It appears as a fucking rough man. So... Let me slow down here. I really got off the fucking rambling there. I want to bring a strong point again, as I have before, as to how men have fucking sacrificed so much in just our recent history, man. Y'all act like that shit was a long time ago or something. It was just our recent history. My grandpa, his dad. I mean, shit, that's just a few generations there, you know. And I want to bring up what they sacrificed in order to create this very well-established country that we have here. And then my nanny leaving my grandpa is a prime example of what feminism has done to masculinity. It has fucking shit on masculinity and divorced it and tried to fucking make it out to be some kind of horrible, bad fucking deal there that it's not. That's horse shit. That's fucking horse shit. I mean, I went through the same exact shit with my ex. I went through this whole process. That's why I understand. That is why I see what is going on, and I have a very good understanding of what is going on, and why I'm going to say what I want to say. Okay, God's calling on me to say, like my frustrations and shit that's inside of me. Right? I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for my grandpa, my dad. I mean, I'm speaking for other women. Women are suffering from this shit. I look around, I see a lot of damn women suffering. They're goddamn by themselves, having to raise kids by themselves on their own. Imagine that, right? Where, like I said, the feminine energy is more about the animalistic fucking side of life. So we're living like animals. Goddamn, a man comes in, fucks a woman, and then he's gone. He goes and lives his life, and she's stuck there raising kids, huh? That shit ain't so cool now, is it? Yep. So we're going to have to find a compromise in here. And feminism is going to have to open up. I've said it before, it's going to have to open up and let masculinity back in here. I know most men I know of, I don't hardly know any goddamn men that will beat on a woman. That is some bullshit that other men aren't going to put up with. Unless, I tell you what, I do, if that goddamn women, because there's a lot of women these days like to run their fucking mouth, and they like to act like a man. Y'all talk about equality and shit all the time. Okay, well, if you're going to act like a man, you're going to get treated like a man. Don't fucking go attacking a man, and then he whips your fucking ass, and you're like, oh, you're a piece of shit, and then you start crying about it. I got into that shit with my ex, too. 3 different times, I put my hands on her, not with any intention of hurting her at all. I never hit her. I never struck her. I had no need to. I've never been that way. Even when I was in a fight with men, I used to, get in fights with men. I did not fight for the purpose of beating somebody's ass. I gained control of the situation, and as soon as I did, that was it. It was done. That was it. If that, whatever it took, if that meant that I had to fucking bust them in the head or something, that's what it's done. But oftentimes that's usually what happened. I don't know. At least once, but I didn't beat on people. Like you hear about people blacking out and then they just go crazy and beat the fuck out of somebody. I blacked out nearly every time I got in a fight because I never threw the first punch. And when somebody goddamn throws the first punch on me, it fucking like shocks my system and my fucking eyes and senses, buddy. There's just something that takes over inside of me on its own. And it has never been wild and savage. That part of me that takes over. It's not fucking savage. Like, I don't beat the fuck out of people. I gain control of the situation. That's it. And that's what I've done with her. We'd be arguing and fussing. And that was actually the reason I put her out of the house 2 or 3 times. And then she ended up leaving 2 or 3 times. It was a lot of big fucking mess. But that's why I ended up putting her out of the house, because I was fucking sick of it. I was like, man, that's all you want to do is fight and fuss. We don't ever make any progress or any production in our conversations here. It's the same bullshit, repetitive bullshit again and again and again. And something else that has come along with the modern day feminism. Have kids, and women will goddamn repeat themselves with their fucking kids 100 fucking times instead of snatching the motherfucker up and busting his ass. Or you don't have to, I tell you what, if you say what you mean and you mean what you say, you don't have to do that. You say it once and you fucking mean it, and you teach them that from when they're just little kids. You start it. You don't even start it. You always do that. From the time they're a baby till they're grown. That's how you should be as a fucking person. Say what you mean and mean what you say. If you're repeating yourself all the fucking time, you're disrespecting yourself. You're telling everybody that the words that come out of your mouth don't mean shit. That's what you're saying. You're teaching yourself that, and everybody around you. And when you do that with your kids, they learn that they can run over top of you. They learn that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Oh, mom, she ain't going to do nothing. She's just going to yell and holler. She's going to get all pissed off, and I can get away with what I want. I drifted off a little bit there forget where I was coming from on that one. I don't know. I'm sitting outside of the damn bank here. I need to get in here and put some money in there so I can pay some bills. So whether you're, I understand the whole, I understand everything that's going on, women and men breaking apart because women are developing their own masculine sides. And here's something a lot of people don't fucking like to, don't want to believe, okay? There's going to be a little bit of pain involved in it. There's going to, discipline and growing and stuff. There's going to be a little bit of worldly pain involved. When you're with God, there isn't really spiritual pain. And when I say worldly pain, I don't even really mean pain, because if you connect to God, if you learn to accept it, accept the masculine and feminine, doing what you have to do is not painful. So back when I was connected with God, I worked all the fucking time. That's what I did. I worked. I loved it. I fucking loved it. I was out in the garden. I was here and there. I was constantly busy doing something, some type of production work. Okay. And always improving myself, working on myself. And trying to think what I'd done for... I had enjoyments and pleasures. Very simple ones, very simple ones. I would drink a beer in the evening or something. 1 or 2 beers, that was it. Or maybe now and then I would take a hit of weed and mow the fucking grass or something. And when I say hit, I mean a hit, just a little bit. Because at that time I had control of myself. And I loved it. I loved having control of myself. It's a beautiful fucking thing when you're in control of yourself and life, and you're, evil doesn't have control of you. That's what it is, evil. When you get into addictions and shit, you can enjoy things in life without being addicted to it. I experienced that firsthand. And when you do, when it's like that, the enjoyment that you get from those things is far greater than any fucking addiction. See, addiction's not really a pleasure. It's a escape from pain. It's so basically your soul and your spirit is sick. And addiction allows you to escape your sickness. But it keeps you from ever healing. You'll never heal as long as you cling on to your addiction. You have to break away from your addiction, okay? And this requires masculine effort. It takes strength. And force, okay? Friction, pressure, pain. You're going to deal with some pain. There's a lot of people these days that's in the healing community. They don't want to, they're so afraid of pain. They're like, you don't have to hurt. You don't have to push yourself beyond this or beyond that or da-da-da. From my personal experience, that's bullshit. If you want to break away from evil, evil has a goddamn hold on you. A very strong fucking grip. If it's got you, addictions and shit, that's a goddamn strong fucking grip. And you got to fucking be stronger than that grip. You got to do whatever the fuck it takes. You got to fight. And evil's going to fight back. And when I talk about this type of pain, spiritual pain, sickness, the kind of fighting that you're going to have to do is internally. You're going to deal with frustrations and temptations and all kinds of stuff. And let me tell you how evil works. I've witnessed this over the last year, I don't know, more than a few times with myself, okay? I've told y'all I've struggled with porn addiction, okay? Porn, jacking off, whatever. So every time I try to break away from that, here's the deal. If I'm giving into it, I could be scrolling through Facebook. We all know there's fucking ads and shit. I don't know if y'all know or not. I see it on my Facebook. They got ads and shit on there. It's basically goddamn porn. There'll be a fucking a picture of a goddamn woman sucking a man's dick or something. You're scrolling through Facebook. There it is. Okay. Well, I don't really see those things so much if I'm giving into that addiction. If that addiction is satisfied, I don't see that stuff. It's like a parasite. Keep it satisfied, and it's going to leave you alone. Well, I mean, look, just metaphorically here, bear with me. It is. It's like a parasite. It sucks the life out of you. As long as it's getting blood, it's going to be satisfied and okay. So when you start goddamn cutting it off, trying to goddamn starve it out or whatever, basically is what I got to do. Shit starts happening. Evil starts throwing temptation at you. So as long as it's satisfied, I don't see that shit on Facebook. I go a week or two and try to starve that motherfucker out and break away from that addiction. I start seeing those fucking ads pop up. I start seeing a lot of shit, temptations and stuff. The evil throws at me. Satan, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I have noticed that that's happened to me multiple times over the last year. And I haven't been able to break away from it yet. I can't say that I have at the moment. But I'm doing this fast, and this fast is a very disciplinary action. It instills discipline in you. It helps you to become disciplined. If you can fucking resist the temptation of food, that's a temptation. Okay, that's evil. Evil fucking use food. Evil use people that you love. And let me explain that. My grandpa, so I'm on this fast, and I've got people I talk to that help me out. They care about me. But I have to be careful, because I'll talk to them about what I'm doing. Like, say I tell them I'm fasting so that I can break away from this stuff. And evil works through them. They're like, oh, you don't be hard on yourself, or you got to eat, or you got to do this. And that's evil fucking working through them to get at me to fucking break me, to get me to give in. And it's worked. That's something I had to learn to notice. I had to learn to fucking recognize that shit. Okay? And I got, I've got just the goddamn utmost respect for my grandpa. I mean, probably more so than anybody else alive. I mean, I don't know. Just because it's just a connection that me and him have, okay? I don't want to say more than anybody else alive. I don't know. It's just a very special connection we have. He's never done anything, never hurt me. And so for me to stand up to him in any way at all is, I don't like that. But, he was riding down the road, and I was talking about this diet and stuff with him yesterday, or 2 evenings ago, and he was telling me, he's like, oh, well, you got to eat, make sure you're eating good, you're out in the woods working, and this and that and the other. And I told him, I'm like, man, I felt better back when I was with God, and I didn't eat the way I'm eating now. I've told him that the way I'm eating now, it's not helping me. I have these issues and stuff. So he knows that, but he doesn't understand what I'm going through. So he's sitting there, and he's telling me, he's like, oh, well, you need to eat, or you got to do this, and he's like, you need to take a sandwich with you when you're going out in the woods. And that, finally, I was just like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I didn't say it that way, actually. It was very plain and simple. Like, I wasn't an asshole or nothing about it. But I did have to say it in a manner to where he understood that I meant it. Okay? Okay, and that's... I didn't used to do that. That was hard for me to learn to do with him. Yeah, right? He's my grandpa. You're supposed to listen and respect your grandpa and everything. And it's not that I disrespected him at all. That's not what it was. I mean, it's a matter of respecting myself. And just not... I recognize that evil. Okay, that was evil. It's not that... That's what it was. It was just evil working through him. Okay. And I've noticed that with him. I noticed this with another older woman. I say, oh, she's not older. Kind of. She's got a youthful spirit. She's in her 70s. Notice the same thing with her. I got to be careful with feminine energy. That feminine fucking energy will tempt you and keep you from doing what you need to do. And it talks about this in Revelations. It says that the mystery, the mother of Babylon, okay, the mother of whoredom, fornication, it will cause... Talks about the 10 kings or whatever that will rule the earth. My details may be a little mixed up here. If you got a problem with that, go read the fucking Bible, okay? But it talks about how the name of this woman that causes the earth to fall and every king to sin is mystery, the mother of Babylon. And then there's something else that goes with it. But that's what that is. I learned to recognize that, okay? fornication, basically, or whatever. The feminine energy. It's a sexual energy, and we all know that. The spiritual community talks about that shit. So for a man or a woman, if you're a woman and you want to develop that masculine energy, you got to learn to control that shit. Because feminine energy will tempt a woman and keep her from fucking developing into who she needs to be too. If you're going to be an independent woman, you got to be disciplined. You got to break away from your temptations and worldly pleasures and desires. See, it says in the Bible, a woman doesn't usually find salvation until she has a child. You want to know why? When she has a child, she suddenly, she don't give a fuck about the goddamn world no more. If she loves the child, and there's a lot of fucking shitty parents these days. But if you love that child's an extension of you. It's who you are. You're going to care about that child. You're going to make sacrifices. You're going to give up the fucking worldly pleasures that you have in order to provide whatever you need to provide for that child, to take care of that child. Okay? And that teaches a woman discipline. I've said this many times before, and this was in my heart. I told Timber, I don't like the word ex, but my ex, okay? We get in arguments and shit, and I don't know. I think it was after she left me, I ended up telling her, I was like, you're not going to understand until you have a kid, okay? Because that's what a lot of women don't understand about men. Like, we feel when we get in a marriage or a relationship, a man feels responsible for a woman right off the bat, and he immediately will make sacrifices of his own worldly pleasures in order to take care of her. If he's a proper, good, loving man and he's trying to build a godly relationship, he will make sacrifices to take care of her. And to make sure she has the pleasures that she wants, to travel so she can do this or that. He doesn't take her pleasures away from her. He takes his own pleasures away most often, more often than not. And that's something women don't understand about men at all. Like, we enter into a relationship making those sacrifices. My God, every fucking man alive knows that if you want money, stay single. If you don't want money, get your ass in a relationship. Right? So, men, a woman is, in a sense, like a child is for a woman. A woman is for a man what a child is for a woman. And this is why it also says in the Bible that if a woman stays with a man long enough to endure childbearing, that is when she will find her salvation. Now, that's just one place in the Bible. There's, 100 different versions of the truth, and I could talk about other manners and shit of this. There's other ways of women finding salvation and finding God, because not all women have children, but don't twist my shit, okay? Hear what I'm saying. Right? I don't know, that's probably... Doesn't say a lot there. Goddamn. 40 minutes again. I'm going to get off here because Facebook likes to fucking silence my shit after it's been playing for too long. I don't know, I had 2 videos that went silent after like 35, 37 minutes. So I need to keep them shorter than that, I guess. We'll see what this one does. Anyways, I love y'all. Take care. I don't have nothing else for you. We'll see you.